Today, we are in Old San Juan. We're going to be talking about Avenida de la Constitución, or Constitution Avenue. This is where it starts. I'm José, the spirited historian, and this is Chronicles and Cocktails. Today, we begin a walk along one of the most symbolic roads in Puerto Rico, Avenida de la Constitución. Our journey starts right here at Kilometer Zero. This small marker on the sidewalk marks the spot where Calle de la Fortaleza ends and Avenida de la Constitución begins. Standing on this corner, history surrounds us. To one side is Plaza de Colón, crowned with the statue of Christopher Columbus. Just steps away is the Teatro Tapia, one of the oldest theaters in the Americas. Across the avenue, the elegant Antiguo casino rises with its neoclassical facade, and nearby stands the José Julián Acosta Public School, today a specialized performing arts school. If you look north, you can even see the walls of Castillo San Cristóbal, guarding the city since the 18th century. This is where the journey begins. Our first stop is the Antiguo Casino. Construction began in 1913 on the site where the Puerta de Santiago once stood, the old land gate of the walled city. It was built as the private club of San Juan's social elite. The building's Beaux Arts style reflects the French influence that shaped Puerto Rican architecture in the early 20th century. It was designed by brothers Rafael and Carlos del Valle Seno and inaugurated in 1917, right in the middle of the First World War. During World War II, the US Army appropriated the building and used it as an officers' social club. After the war, it was returned to the Puerto Rican government and became the Escuela Libre de Música, a public music school. Later, it housed the Instituto de Cultura Puertorriqueña, or the Institute of Puerto Rican Culture, and today, it serves as the official reception center for the government of Puerto Rico. With its grand staircase, marble floors, and chandeliers, it remains one of the island's most elegant landmarks. It is also one of the most beautiful venues for VIP events, high-profile government receptions, and unforgettable weddings. Yes, you can get married here. Next to the casino, we find the old water pump. But centuries ago, this was the Puerta de Santiago, better known as the Land Gate, in Spanish, Puerta de Tierra, the only landmark entrance into the walled city. I'm standing right in front of what used to be the gate to the old city, Puerta de Tierra. It was then taken down to expand the city, and it grew into what is known today as Barrio Puerta de Tierra. Imagine merchants, soldiers, governors, and workers passing through daily. Across the street from the casino is the Escuela José Julián Acosta, named after the journalist and abolitionist whose words helped bring an end to slavery in Puerto Rico in 1873. If we keep going east, we find the building known today as the Casa Olímpica de Puerto Rico. This structure was originally built in 1913 as the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association, a pioneer of organized sports in Puerto Rico. This neoclassical building was designed by New York architect B.V. White. It included an indoor swimming pool, the very first public pool on the island, a gymnasium, and even the first roofed basketball court in Puerto Rico. Decades later, an east wing by architect Eloy Jimenez and Pedro de Castro was demolished due to structural issues and replaced by a new extension. Since 1992, the building has housed the Puerto Rico Olympic Committee and is officially known as La Casa Olímpica, or the Olympic House. That same year, the Puerto Rican legislature declared it a historic landmark. Today, Casa Olímpica represents not only sports, but also national pride and Puerto Rico's place on the world athletic stage. Right beside Casa Olímpica stands the Ateneo Puertorriqueño, founded in 1878. It is one of Puerto Rico's oldest and most important cultural institutions, dedicated to literature, art, history, and the sciences. For nearly 150 years, the Ateneo has been a cradle of Puerto Rican identity, hosting debates, theater productions, exhibitions, and countless intellectual gatherings. The present building was designed in 1923 by architect Francisco Roldan. Its design was inspired by the Mudéjar style, a blend of Muslim and Christian influences from the Iberian Peninsula in the 12th century. This style reflects a symbiosis of cultures expressed through arches, tile work, and ornament details. Walking past the Ateneo, you can feel how deeply Puerto Rico's cultural life has been shaped by this institution. It is not just a building, but a symbol of the island's ongoing dialogue between history and national identity. Further along, we encounter the Carnegie Library, opened in 1916. Funded by Andrew Carnegie, it became one of Puerto Rico's first public libraries, a temple of knowledge for society in transformation. And then, the striking Casa de España, built in 1934, with its Andalusian courtyard and Spanish architecture. It stands as a cultural bridge between Puerto Rico and Spain. You can even get married here, as many spectacular weddings and events take place in this historic building. And now, we arrive at the centerpiece of this avenue, El Capitolio de Puerto Rico. The story of this building begins in the early 20th century. In 1907, the Puerto Rican legislature approved the idea of building a permanent capital, a symbol of modern governance for the island. But the project faced delays, debates, and funding issues. It wasn't until 1921 that construction began, with architect Rafael Carmoega leading the design. The vision was clear: to create a building that represented democracy and Puerto Rico's aspirations for the future. Its styles blends neoclassical architecture with Puerto Rican details. The Great Dome, inspired by the U.S. Capitol, rises as a symbol of authority and balance, The building was inaugurated in 1929 during a period of rapid modernization across the island. Inside, El Capitolio houses not only the House of Representatives and the Senate, but also works of art that narrate Puerto Rico's history from the Taíno era to today. Murals by artists such as Rafael Ríos Rey and Antonio Torres Martino depict the struggles and achievements of the Puerto Rican people. Over decades, El Capitolio has been the stage for the great debates that shaped the island's destiny, political status, civil rights, and the very question of Puerto Rican identity. So, this is not just a government building. It's a national symbol, a monument to our history, our struggles, and our hopes for the future. And standing here at the heart of Avenida de la Constitución, El Capitolio anchors this avenue as the true center of Puerto Rican power. Right in front, we see the Paseo de los Presidentes, a row of statues of U.S. presidents tied to Puerto Rican history. These are presidents that at one point or another, for various reasons, have visited Puerto Rico. It is a symbol and sometimes a controversy, reflecting our complex relationship with the United States. The plazas around the Capitolio hold statues and monuments, each one telling stories of leaders, soldiers, and the island's struggles. Among them, the Plaza de la Mujer Puertorriqueña, honoring Puerto Rican women, the Plaza de la Policía, with a monument to fallen officers, the Plaza de los Leones, the Altar de la Patria or Motherland Altar. There's even a monument remembering the Holocaust, and another honoring Puerto Rican fighting Roosters. In 2012, a time capsule was buried here, connecting future generations to this historic place. So, we are at the park right in front of the Capitol. This is right in the center of Avenida de la Constitución. When Puerta de Tierra started as the expanding neighborhood of Old San Juan, this was all empty land. El Antiguo Casino de Puerto Rico was built in 1916. Then the Capitol started around those same years and finished in the 20s. So this area was not only the expansion of Old San Juan, but it represented the center of power. Political power, cultural power, power of the wealthy. This is where everything was happening. This neighborhood is Puerta de Tierra. So the cocktail I chose for this episode is the Capitol Cocktail, a Puerto Rican version of a Manhattan. And this is the recipe. 2 ounces Puerto Rican dark rum, 1 ounce sweet vermouth, 2 dashes Peychaud's bitters. Stir gently over ice, do not shake. Strain into a coupe glass. It ties directly to El Capitolio, elegant, strong, and timeless. Just like the building itself. Garnish with a cherry. Salud. Right next to the Capitol are the offices of the Puerto Rican National Guard. This is where military and civil protection planning is carried out, an institution deeply tied to both local emergencies and national defense. A short walk away stands the Church of San Agustin. Built in 1883, it was once the parish church for Puerta de Tierras community, and remains a quiet reminder of the district's spiritual life amid political power. So, about halfway along the avenue, my wife and I stopped at Tostado for lunch. I ordered the pastrami sandwich. Pickled cabbage, sauteed onions, Swiss cheese, and Dijon mustard on brioche. It was rich, tangy, and perfectly balanced. It was really good. My wife had the chicken and sweet bacon sandwich with cheddar, lettuce, tomato, aioli, and onions on a baguette. The food was amazing, and it gave us new energy to continue toward the park and to the Supreme Court. Steps away from the National Guard and the San Agustin Church, we find 3 important institutions of Puerto Rican politics. First, the Federación de Alcaldes, representing the mayors from towns aligned with the new Progressive Party or the Statehood Party. And the Asociación de Alcaldes, representing the mayors from municipalities aligned with the Popular Democratic Party that supports the Commonwealth or the status quo. These 2 organizations are powerful voices for Puerto Rico's municipalities, lobbying for resources, policies, and the daily needs of towns across the island. Nearby stands the headquarters of the Partido Popular Democrático, founded in 1938 by Luis Muñoz Marín. Along the avenue, we find the ruins of the Bastión de Isabel II, part of San Juan's second line of defense. This bastion was originally built between 1777 and 1788 on the southern end of the defensive wall system. The second line stretched north from here all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. In the 19th century, it was named in honor of Queen Isabel II of Spain. And you cross the street from the Bastión, and the Parque de Luis Muñoz Rivera opens up, with the Luis Muñoz Rivera Avenue on the north and the Avenida de la Constitución on the south. Within the park, there's the statue of Queen Isabel II, a relic of Spain's monarchy in Puerto Rico. Also within the park, you'll see the statue of Luis Muñoz Rivera gazing towards the east of the park. And within the park stands the historic Polvorín de San Jerónimo. The structure is made of brick and masonry, rectangular in shape, nearly 200 feet long, with bomb-proof walls and a massive gabled roof. Surrounding the Polvorín are outer walls 13 feet high, once protected by garitas in its corners. This was one of 4 powder magazines built by the Spanish in the 18th century as part of San Juan's defensive system, designed by engineer Tomás O'Daly and built between 1769 and 1772 by Juan Francisco Mestre. Still in the Avenida de la Constitución, but right across the street from the Luis Muñoz Rivera Park, is the Archivo General de Puerto Rico, or the General Archive of Puerto Rico. Inside, centuries of documents preserve our history, letters, maps, and records of our identity. It is the memory bank of the island. This is where I often spend time researching for genealogical investigations, for my books about Utuado, and for discovering more of Puerto Rico's history. And within all these historical buildings and old buildings from 100, 200, 300, even 400 years ago, there are newer buildings, sky rises. Glass and concrete towers rise into the sky. Luxury residential buildings that offer sweeping views of the ocean, the bay, and Old San Juan. And finally, we reach the Supreme Court. Standing near the edge of the San Juan Islet. Here, the most important legal debates of Puerto Rico are decided. Its modern structure closes the avenue with a sense of gravity and permanence. The Supreme Court of Puerto Rico was created in 1900 under the Foraker Act, after the island passed from Spanish to American sovereignty. At first, it had 5 justices, appointed by the President of the United States. In 1917, with the Jones Act, it was expanded to 7 justices, and today it has 9 members, including the Chief Justice. This is after the Constitution of 1952. From Kilometer Zero at Plaza de Colón to the Supreme Court by the sea, Avenida de la Constitución is a walk through Puerto Rico's past and present, colonial ruins, cultural icons, political battles, and modern skylines, all made here. It is also, without question, the center of power in Puerto Rico. Here too are several consulates connecting Puerto Rico with the international community, the legislature, the Mayor's Association, and the Supreme Court. And beyond the court, crossing into Miramar, it becomes Avenida Juan Ponce de León, stretching all the way to Rio Piedras. In that sense, Avenida de la Constitución is not just a street, it's the artery of Puerto Rico's history, politics, and identity. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me, and in future episodes, we'll explore Puerta de Tierra, a district whose story deserves its own spotlight. I'm José, the spirited historian, and this was Chronicles and Cocktails.